Welcome to Hell's Gate Podcast. I'm Anthony Miltello.
I am Dominick Panetta. We have a very special guest in the studio today. He doesn't have a live mic right now because Tony's leaving.
Yes.
But his name is Jarrett Michael Maki of the BTN Network. Say hello, Jarrett.
Say hey.
How you doing?
How you doing?
I did not get picked up.
Great.
Yeah, you did. You got
Yeah,
picked
you
up.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got to leave here in a second to go coach some girls basketball.
Tony wanted to make sure he got his word in, so we're down to hear it, man.
Well, this episode's going to be about our college basketball predictions. So we're going to have Dom and Jarrett give theirs after I'm done
Absolutely.
here. Because I got to leave, like I said. So my big prediction is probably the prediction that everybody else has, and I'm picking Duke to win the national championship. I think once Zion Williamson gets healthy, once they have all three of those future NBA stars together, I don't see a way that they're going to get beaten, especially with Coach K right at the helm. I don't see any team being able to beat them. I know they've lost a few games this season, but that's the regular season. Once they get into the tournament, once they have all three of those guys healthy, I don't see a way that they lose. And this is just a funny prediction because Jarrett's here and he goes to Michigan State. He loves Michigan State. He thinks Michigan State's going to go to the Final Four. I'm a State fan myself, but
that's garbage.
I do not agree with that. I don't think Michigan State is good enough to make it to the Final Four. I think he overrates a lot of the guys on that team. He thinks Nick Ward is going to be a starting center in the NBA.
They have a bet for $100.
Which is absolutely blasphemy. Yeah, Don, tell him this bet. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically Jarrett and Tony had this bet that Nick Ward, who is the center for the Michigan State Spartans, he is going to go to the NBA. Not only go to the NBA, but he is also going to be a starting center in the NBA.
Which is not happening.
In his first season,
so I bet him
was specified.
No, it was within 2 seasons. If he starts 10 games for an NBA team, I get $100.
Whoa, 10 games. I would not make that bet for 10 games.
I would, because I don't think he's even going to get drafted. So.
All right, well, that's a pretty...
No. Yeah, you were right. It was the first season, wasn't it?
It was the first.
It was within 2. Cause
it was either within 2 or the first season, 10 games.
It was within 2 because you wanted to do 1, and I was like, if you're that confident, then let's make it 2 then.
All right, then, yeah. 2.
Well, we made like 8
games,
separate bets that one day, so we don't know the exact full details. But that's the
exact details. I remember specifically. It is within 2 seasons.
Okay.
Period. He's a starting center. Period. Not start one game, but considered a starting center in the NBA.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna let Jarrett get on the mic because I got to go. In conclusion, Duke is going to win the national championship. Michigan State's not going to the Final Four. And Nick Ward will never be a starting center in the NBA. Thank you.
All right. See you, Tony.
See ya. Have a good day.
All right, Tony. See you later.
Thank God Tony left. You know
exactly.
So I want to make something clear to those listening at home. I'm sure it's millions at this point. When I made this bet about Nick Ward, it was kind of a joke. I didn't think he'd have the year he ended up having. He ended up having a good year.
$100 on it. You can't call that
I work
a
for the Big Ten Network.
Yeah, it's
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Nick Ward, after I made this bet, it seems like he knew I made this bet and wanted to help me out a little bit because this season's had a pretty good year, averaging 16 points a game. And that's not bad. Best conference in college basketball. He's not playing against slouches every week.
I can't argue with what you're saying. He is definitely
7 rebounds a game. Like that, he's good, right? And
seven rebounds.
Average 7 rebounds a game. Yeah? But he scores. That's what he does. He scores. He gets to the basket, embarrasses people on a nightly basis. So,
including you,
including
your
me.
prediction.
When this comes true, I'm happy it's documented here. It's documented on my phone. When it comes true, Tony is gonna block my numbers and block my Snapchat. He won't pay up. He has my Venmo, so he can do it whenever he wants. So it's fine. But I'm actually confident in my prediction. So
I'm glad to hear that you're confident in your prediction because literally no one else on the planet is confident in that prediction.
Okay, well, that's fine. So aside going away from me predicting that Nick Ward is going to be a starting center in the NBA, I want to ask you about your prediction with Duke. So is your prediction and your mentality with this just Duke and no one else has a chance? Or who are like 3 or 4 other teams that you think if Duke has a bad game can take advantage of that?
You made a good point a minute ago. I forget if it was on air or off air, but Gonzaga is a team that could potentially. Obviously, they haven't shown up in big moments.
Well, they're number 1, right?
Right. Yes.
Have they had big games though? That's my worries. I feel like the reason one of my base reasons for saying Michigan State Spartans are going to go to the Final Four is because they have the most quad 1 wins in the country. Which, frankly, I don't even know what that means, but it's important wins, right? And so Gonzaga is not on the list of the top 5, but that could be because they haven't played anyone. So who knows? Maybe when they get in the tournament, they'll get hot. But I used to know if your mentality was Duke or no one, or what was the deal with that?
I think the talent, I don't know the word, disparity, I guess. talent gap is just so large. Like, that's a legitimate big three in college basketball.
But
people are talking about they're like rivaling them with the Fab Five. You know what I mean?
What did the Fab Five win?
That's a good point. But they could have won something.
But they didn't, though. I think that's gonna be a story with this Duke team. Is as much as, and this is why the biggest thing I feel like if Michigan State has a chance.
Yeah. They don't, but yeah,
Duke are good. I'm not saying they don't have talented players, but the issue with this mentality of kids coming into college, playing 1 year, and then leaving is there's not a lot of teams in college basketball.
You're 100% right.
And that's what I like about Michigan State this year. And I saw someone say this on the Big Ten Network. Not me on the Big Ten Network, but someone on the actual Big Ten Network say, and they kind of annoyed Michigan State fans a little bit. Michigan State has kind of found their Michigan this year because they've had a lot of injuries, a lot of adversity, but players that usually won't step up are stepping up. Like Xavier Tillman's been really big. I think he scored like 13 points against Michigan in a massive game on the road.
Nick Ward.
Kenny Goins has been incredible. Like just Aaron Henry, like the freshmen, like teams are more important than people give them credit for in college basketball. And I feel like, and I'm hoping because I'm a little bit biased, that this team will prevail against these three freshmen who are gonna leave next year and not play for Duke anymore.
My singular point that I can die on this hill, right? Okay. You don't have three. Okay, so basically we'll look at it just RJ and Zion to be fair.
Okay.
Those are 100% for sure 1 and 2, undisputed.
In the draft or in the country in college basketball?
In the draft.
Okay. So there is a difference. You would agree there's a difference between 1 and 2 in the draft and 1 and 2 in college basketball?
There absolutely is. Like there are some guys in college basketball that are just better players than other people in college basketball, but they're not as good of prospects for the NBA draft. Regardless, 1 and 2 in the NBA draft. You don't have that kind of talent. And obviously Cam Reddish is going to be a top 10 pick. If he's not, it's absurd. Cam Reddish is incredible. Zion is otherworldly, and RJ is like James Harden. But it's very dependent. Their win is very dependent on health. I think that nobody can touch them if they're healthy. That talent gap is huge.
Yeah, I mean, but I listened to everything you just said to me. And while I was doing, I was looking up some statistics. I know you're scared of numbers and statistics.
Certainly not.
But Cassius Winston, the best point guard in college basketball.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to do that.
Based on statistics, has
garbage.
A 13% better 3-point shot than RJ Barrett does this year, which is important because Cassius Winston is the main reason why I'm saying that we can do what we can do. You don't accidentally average, I think, in the Big Ten, like 27 points a game. That's not an accident. And you don't do that away at Michigan. You don't do that away at Ohio. You don't do that away, hopefully, at Indiana this weekend. You don't, like, that's not an accident. And I'm not, like, I understand that's only one player, and I understand that Duke, I'm not saying that's the issue. I'm not saying Duke doesn't have good players. Another thing to think about, what if Zion sits there and he's like, why do I have to go back?
No, if I were him, me and Tony discussed this before he got here. But I would go back because of obviously made the commitment to the program and to the team and to your friends. But I would certainly argue from my universally recognized best podcast in the world standpoint, I would say don't go back, Zion. But I think it's too much to leave on the table for him. Like, he's got an opportunity to be a part of the, I'm using air quotes, best college basketball team ever. You know, they're being compared to the Fab Five. Although maybe
who didn't win anything.
You cannot deny the greatness of the Fab Five. You can't. You just can't do it.
You have to win something to be great, I feel like. Do you not have to win something to be great?
Jarrett.
I'm Dominick, I'm honestly asking you. Do you have to win something to be great?
No. I think that greatness is...
I think there's a difference between being great and being fabled. And the Fab Five are definitely fabled, if you understand what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Like, the Fab Five you're always going to hear, that's a buzzword thrown around in college basketball, and you're always going to hear about the Fab Five. But they didn't win anything. And I'm sure they were great, and it was a big deal at the time, but they're fabled. That's why I feel like this Duke team, I don't know if they have a nickname. This Duke team?
The Duke 3?
Okay, well, they shouldn't have a nickname because they're
yeah.
not going to win anything. I will die on this hill, by the way, that Duke is not going to win the 20.
Well, you're taking the field over one team, so that's a very safe bet, and I don't think it's exactly fair for you to I stake my life on Duke.
Well, I
not
told
winning.
you
Like,
over
that's
text,
the field, you know?
and I'll say it here. I think they're not going to make it past the Elite Eight.
Yeah, that is absurd.
Coach K, which you told me over text, is one of the greatest basketball coach of all time.
I didn't say the greatest. I said he's one of the greatest, and then you said, oh, well, he's not, and I was like, hey, how many?
And then I pulled out more data and statistics, which is crazy because Dominick is actually.
And you know what I pulled out? I said, hey, how many Olympic gold medals does?
There's judo. You know they're gonna have lightsaber battles as an Olympic event.
Oh yeah, really?
Is that?
Are you sure about that?
They talked about it.
You know, you're really into numbers and statistics. Why don't you look up the percentage of likelihood that a lightsaber battle becomes an Olympic sport?
France just recognized this as an official sport. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying. Coach K, okay, has had. Would you argue that he's always had a pretty good team at Duke?
No, I wouldn't argue that. He's got
better, above average.
He's had blue chip prospects, yes, but
okay.
He hasn't had he hasn't always had above average teams.
So in the last 15 years, Dominick.
Hey, 11 Olympic gold medals, by the way.
In the last 15 years in the March Madness tournament, which I understand there's a lot of variation there. There's a lot of wild things that can happen. UMBC beat Virginia. Loyola Chicago had that old woman who was like praying him into the Final Four. He has only made the Final Four 3 times in 15 years.
Okay.
That's not. I think Izzo has done it 4 or 5 times. Tom Izzo's a better coach than Coach K.
I made this point to you over text message.
My best friend Tom Izzo is a better coach than Coach K.
All right. So you ever heard of Kyrie Irving?
I know who. I think I've heard of Kyrie Irving.
Yes.
Right?
Jason Tatum. You ever heard of him?
I think. Yeah.
JJ Redick. You heard of that guy?
Those names kind of sound familiar.
Yeah. Those guys
NBA?
all credit. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're in the NBA. I'm not sure.
I'll look it up.
They all credit one particular person for their success. Obviously, they were all great prospects going into college, and there are several other people, that credit Coach K for their success, as a big role in their success. And all 3 of those guys hit that criteria. So I don't think that people would universally acclaim a coach, especially players, for aiding in their development and making them better basketball players if he wasn't a great coach.
Before we went down this path, you mentioned Zion would go back to the team to be a part of something.
Yes.
To be a part of the Duke whatever.
Yeah. The Duke dynasty.
Sure.
For 1 year. The 1 year dynasty.
Yeah, whatever, the one and done dynasty. So whatever you want to call it. So when an interviewer asks a player who's out of college, what do you attribute your success to? What do you think they're going to say? They're going to say the Taco Bell down the street from the basketball center?
My dad, my high school coach, the first coach I had in the NBA.
The only reason you wouldn't mention a coach is
LeBron James has said that Coach K has assisted him in his development.
Dog.
LeBron freaking James.
Dog, you're going to sit there and tell me that you believe that? What I'm saying is, the only reason they wouldn't mention Coach K in such an interview, because I can't imagine they held a press conference just to say how much of a great coach he is and tear up at the fact that he developed them and blossomed them into this beautiful flower that they are today in the NBA. They were asked a question hoping for that answer.
Maybe. I mean,
and it's not, but that. I don't think you can say that and die on that hill.
But that's just one small point in a very large argument. That's just another reason it's Duke and really nobody else.
You don't think anybody else?
No, I think Duke will win definitively. I think.
So you're taking one team against the field.
Yes, I am.
Which is what we did the do-si-do on that one.
Yeah, we did. I'm taking one team against the field because that's what you have to predict a team. You can't be like.
So you're telling me okay? So
who is your prediction to win the entire thing, the whole enchilada, as they say?
So,
who's your prediction? Go ahead.
My honest prediction?
Yeah, that's not everyone but Duke. Because that's literally the biggest cop-out that you could possibly take.
Well, if I'm going to sit here and say that Michigan State University is going to go to the Final Four, I'm also going to sit here and say...
Don't say it. I will kick you out. You cannot say what you're about to say.
That the 2018-19 NCAA Division I men's basketball tournament will be won by... probably Gonzaga, if we're being I don't know. I like Gonzaga. They always get into this thing where we talked about it. They don't really have a lot of big wins at this point in the season because they don't play anyone, right? So this is big, but I think Gonzaga. I like them. I think they can beat Michigan State in the final game, the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't understand how you can sit there and say that Michigan State have no chance. That doesn't make sense to me.
Every team has a chance.
But for you to be so against it as you are doesn't make sense to me. Because the Big Ten is been undisputably the best conference in college basketball this year. Would you agree or disagree? In terms of best teams and competitiveness.
I don't know. I haven't watched enough college basketball from other divisions to conferences.
What if I told you, this is another stat, that the average ranking of teams in the Big Ten is 15 places higher than the second best conference?
I feel like that's a very specific stat.
It is. It helps me out.
I don't know where you pulled that from.
It was on the Big Ten Network.
I need a reference.
I'll show you after. You can put it in the description if you want.
Okay, I might. I might.
But yeah, so like I think the team that wins the Big Ten, they've had a gauntlet of a schedule.
Right.
It's not easy to go to the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor and win. It was for us, but it's not easy to like go to Purdue and win, which we didn't do. Right. And it's not easy for us going to be tomorrow to go to Indiana and win. But like these are things that we played on a week in, week out basis where they've been incredible games. They've been incredibly competitive, and you just have to play to your best all year, and that's not going to stop. Gonzaga hasn't had to try, and Duke's second game of the season was against Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Do you want to know how that game went? Did you see the score?
Me, you, and Tony. And Daniel Green could beat Eastern Michigan, and they could have a man advantage, and we would beat Eastern Michigan comfortably by 47 points.
Listen, you just don't beat teams by 47 points. Like, you just don't have to do that. And there were very, very extenuating circumstances. Obviously, Eastern Michigan has no place playing Duke, but it just kind of drives home. If you watched like some highlights from the game, it was just Zion dunking on people and RJ crossing them up and taking them to the hoop.
So as of right now, the 1 seeds are in the East. You have Virginia.
Okay.
The Midwest.
I know nothing about Virginia. I have not watched a single Virginia game in my life.
The thing with Virginia is they always do this. They're good in the regular season, and they lost the 16 seed last year.
Yes.
It's like the same thing. Midwest, Kentucky, which is interesting because they're young, obviously, because it's Kentucky. West, number 1 is Gonzaga, and then the South, number 1 is Duke. Now, for my prediction, which is going to be right to make sense, Michigan State currently, and this will change when we win the Big Ten title and championship, we are this 2 seed in the same division that Duke's the 1 seed in. So my prediction of Duke getting knocked out not making it past the Elite 8 is going to come true when we beat Duke in the Elite 8. Now,
sorry,
you laugh over there, but we have the best point guard in the country. And we have the best coach in college basketball history. Now.
What?
I just said what I said. Personal friend of mine, Tom Izzo.
Hey, how many national championships does Tom Izzo have?
He has 1.
A singular national championship?
Coach K has 2. Let's take it easy.
Uh-huh.
You know who accredits all of his success?
I'm sorry, hang on. How many Olympic gold medals does Coach Tom Izzo have?
Tom Izzo gets paid too much money to coach the Olympic basketball team. Let me ask you one question. Who has been a very large part of the Golden State Warriors' success?
Draymond Donkey Green.
Now, if you had to guess where Draymond Green went to college and who he attributes all of his success to, who would you guess?
It certainly was Tom Izzo.
It was Tom Izzo. If you had to look at rookies in the NBA this season, and you had to look at maybe 2 of the top 10 best rookies in the NBA, who would you think would be on that list?
Luka Doncic. DeAndre Ayton.
Never heard of them, so keep going.
What?
Just keep going.
I'll
make it this easy for you. Okay. Jaren Jackson Jr. With the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
Has been good this year. You can't say he hasn't.
He's been pretty good, yeah.
Miles Bridges with Charlotte has been incredible this year. So if we had to sit
Incredible's a strong word.
Dunk contest.
Okay, did he win? He's
favorable.
The dunk contest. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Dunk contest.
Can I buy a vowel?
Yeah, you're probably good.
Awesome.
The dunk contest does not matter unless you win. Nobody remembers Michael Finley being in the dunk contest.
You do.
I do because I like Michael Finley. He tried to do a cartwheel dunk and failed.
That sucks.
And guess how many people talk about it? 1.
But
Dominick S. Panetta.
Guess who he attributes those 2 players. Guess who they attribute their success to?
I'm sorry. When was there a press conference? Hang on. When was there a press conference where they attributed?
Yeah, they had a press conference. They held a press conference, and they got up there together, and they were both crying in tears. And they got up there, and the reporters said nothing. There was thousands of reporters in the room, and they said Tom Izzo is the only reason why the National Basketball League still exists. because the foundations of basketball, as we know it, are built on Tom Izzo's success.
Hey, did you know Ryan Abke actually invented the game of basketball?
I did know that. But okay, like jokes aside, the discrepancy between Duke and Michigan State is not as big as you're pretending like it is.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
And I want to understand why you think it's as big as you think it is. How big of a difference is it? Let's pretend it's a point system, okay? So let's pretend Coach K has, so since he's you think the best coach of all time.
No. Stop it.
That's what you
Stop
said.
it.
I have the message where you said
No, I did
that.
not say that. I said he is one of the greatest coaches of all time. If we're being honest, I think Greg Popovich is.
I would agree with that.
Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, those are the two greatest basketball coaches of all time. Now, let's set that argument aside. I believe. Hang on. How many top 10 prospects does Michigan State have
In the draft?
this upcoming year? Hang on. How many?
But what you're saying.
Just exactly how many?
But what you're saying,
How many?
though, Dominick.
How many are projected to get
Our
drafted at all?
conversation earlier is negating what you're saying right now.
Why? Why is that?
Because we are a team. Because Michigan State's recruiting ethics are different than Duke's recruiting ethics. I'm not talking about players getting paid. I'm not talking about that at all. What I'm saying is Michigan State University usually has a culture of teams instead of one and dones who come and they leave. We haven't had a blue chip prospect in a while. We were going to get Vernon Carey, who was the third best player in the country, and he went to Duke.
Yep.
I'm not mad about
that. He did.
I'm not mad about that. I'm not salty about
How long
that.
ago was that?
What do you mean?
That Vernon Carey went to Duke?
That was like a few months ago.
Really? Was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Would you say that Vernon Carey is currently on Duke's roster as we speak?
Well, he committed to Duke.
Uh-huh.
He's not on their roster.
Good. Okay. I was just checking.
Okay.
Good.
But anyway, that's weird. What I'm saying is though is that and me and Tony talked about this. If Nick Ward stays,
Wait, hang on. Are you saying that Vernon Carey will be on Duke's roster this upcoming season, the one after this one that they have 10? They have 3 top 10 prospects in the draft this season.
They're leaving.
And their next year they have a number 3 in the nation prospect coming in and playing on their team. Is that what you're saying to me right now?
That's what I said.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's not because of Coach K. That's because Duke has the money to. Anyway, what I'm saying is, though, Michigan State's culture is more of a team culture than it is a single player or like one and done's coming in and leaving. Jaren Jackson Jr.
I'm sorry.
Miles
Is there
Bridges,
a single player on Duke that is going into the NBA draft and going to be like a top 2 pick? Is it just one that's going to do that, or is there 2?
What does that mean, though? That means nothing.
I'm pretty sure there's a third player
If
that's going to be in the
Cassius
top
Winston
10.
wanted to go to the league, he could go in the league.
He could.
And Nick Ward is going to start
the G League,
the National Basketball Association,
the Gatorade League of the National Basketball Association.
Yeah. It's like the 2K19 prologue. We have to go to China for like a year and a half.
Exactly.
No,
that's gonna happen.
But what I'm saying is, Dominic, I hit the desk in real life. I did it again to make you guys hear that. I hope it picked it up.
It did.
Michigan State's culture is different. So were you sitting here and you're telling me about Zion and how great they are and how good of a team they are? Without Zion, they lost to Virginia Tech, who also have their own injury problems.
It's a basketball game.
It's a basketball game.
Yes, it's anyone can lose on any given night.
I hate to break this to you, Dominic. I hate to break this to you.
Me and you and like 8 Ryan Abkes could easily
Ryan
be.
Abke's the best basketball player of all time.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. Let me just change the narrative. A starting 5 of Jarrett Maki, Dominick Panetta, Daniel Green, Christian Panetta, and Anthony Militello could beat the Warriors on any given night.
Tell you what, we trade out Daniel Green for like Mike LaFata there. We got a chance.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
But no. So what? Honestly, okay. So, but that kind of is a strike against you too, though. Because you're so high and mighty on Duke winning the whole thing because the talent gap is ridiculous.
They definitely could lose. They could fluke lose a game. That definitely can happen. But I just don't think it's going to happen in the college basketball playoffs.
All of their losses this year have been flukes.
No, I don't. No, they legitimately lost some games. That game against Virginia Tech, obviously Zion went down, but there's no excuse to lose that game.
The game against North Carolina, there's no excuse to lose in the manner which they did. They got what?
Maybe, yeah.
They were down by like what, 23 at halftime?
It doesn't. That's not exactly the point. The point I'm trying to make is, like, let's look at the Warriors, right? They can lose all the regular season games they want, but when it comes playoff time, it's
That's
business time. Is it though? Is it different?
Because half the teams in the NBA make the playoffs. whereas like a very small amount of college basketball teams make them.
Yeah, but if you think
playoffs.
about it, they play more games. Like the fatigue is greater on them throughout a whole season. Duke's would be way fresher than the Warriors are. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been pretty good on injuries lately. Like so far, they've been pretty decent on injuries.
The Duke Blue Devils?
Duke, yeah. Obviously, Zion went down with that knee injury because he blew through a Paul George shoe. Like that's a
just
fluke
Paul George
injury.
is trash.
How dare you?
But
How
okay,
dare you say that to
do you
me?
want to make a money bet right now that Duke don't make it past the Elite Eight?
I would like to make a money bet.
Do you
Yes.
want to bet $20?
Mm-hmm.
We will handshake this right now.
We'll handshake it. $20.
Yeah, I hope the mic heard of our hands
The
right there,
clasp.
because it really did happen. That's
Yeah.
how confident I am. I really can't see them. I think RJ Barrett he's good, but he's not great.
He's overrated.
He's
slightly
overrated.
overrated. Certainly, I would agree.
And I've
but
never
he's still
seen. I've
good
never
enough.
seen. I thought it was bad with Trae Young and ESPN. I've never seen ESPN like one throat a team as hard as they're one throating Duke right now, because they are going in hard on Duke. And you know this. I think they had a Zion cam at the last game. So
did.
Virginia Tech's running up and down the court, hitting threes from the logo and doing 360 no look dunks from the 3-point line and step back fadeaway dunks. Sorry, and they have a Zion cam, right? So they're overrated, and they shouldn't have been number one when they lost to Virginia Tech or when they lost.
How many games have you watched Duke play?
I try to watch Duke as often as I can.
So, and you work for the Big Ten Network, so it's very important. It's
important that I
very
know.
important that you know.
It's not that I don't talk about college basketball at work, but my colleagues and everyone I talk to on a daily basis at Michigan State
Exactly.
University,
Yes.
they're going to talk to me about sports. And I was the only one who said that they were going to lose to North Carolina by double digits, and that was when Zion was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that made no sense because he got injured, so it should have hurt them even more than it did.
Right.
But I don't have confidence in their ability for important games. The ACC. Are we serious?
Well, Jarrett,
Are we serious?
I think we can agree to disagree on this.
Let me ask you one question. Let me ask you two questions.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, ask. I'm listening.
Where do you see Michigan State University ending the 2000? Hey, let me rephrase that. Where do you see Michigan State Spartans, the Spartan Dogs,
The Dogs.
ending the 2018-19 NCAA Division I men's college basketball season?
They might make the Elite Eight.
Wow.
They might make the Elite Eight.
And
yeah.
I can see it in your eyes. You even struggle to say that.
They may make the Elite Eight.
So
if they do and they win the Elite Eight, that will be fantastic for Michigan State basketball.
What are your thoughts on Cassius Winston?
But they are not going.
So
to...
do you think Cassius Winston is homeless?
They're
do you think
not
Cassius
going
Winston
to
is
the
the worst? What do you Cassius Winston unarguably is the best point guard in college basketball. The Purdue kid's pretty good. Edwards, he's pretty good, but
Cassius Winston
is a dog.
is good. He's a good player.
He's a dog.
Is he projected to go in the NBA draft?
He's
Yes or
small. He's small. This isn't
I'm
about
just
the. We're not, this isn't a fucking draft prediction, Dominic. I'm sorry for kids at home. I'm sure you can censor that. This isn't a draft prediction podcast. This is an NCAA basketball March Madness podcast.
I don't think he's good enough to propel them over. Zion Williamson is 10,000 times the player that Cassius Winston is. Forget Zion. He's not better than RJ, and he's not better than Cam Reddish.
He's better than Cam Reddish.
He's not better than Cam Reddish. I really don't think he is.
Want to pull up numbers?
Yeah, you can pull up numbers for the first option on one team and the third option on another team.
I'll pull up numbers.
Especially on a college basketball team.
I just want to make this known
where everyone's trying to get minutes.
for the record,
Yeah, go ahead.
just out there. Cassius Winston averages 19.2 points per game and 7.5 assists. Round that up to 8 assists because when it's 5 or more,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
round up.
of course.
Yeah, of course.
We've all taken 6th grade math.
And then Cam Reddish over here, this clown, averages 14 points a game.
As the third
and-
option on
and
a
2
Duke
assists.
basketball team.
And
the
now,
third.
And now, what I'll bring up now is RJ Barrett. Now we're talk about RJ Barrett.
Okay.
RJ Barrett averages 23 points a game
23 points a
and
game.
4 assists per game.
4 assists a game.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
would you agree that Michigan State's schedule has been tougher than Duke's schedule?
Yes, I would agree that.
Kind of makes you think, doesn't it? I bet if Cassius Winston had a game against Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, Michigan, think about that. Ypsilanti, just spell that one out at home, folks. He would have scored 77 points. And that would have inflated
He
his
would have
numbers.
scored
so.
77 points.
All
you
I'm
think.
saying is, I just got back from driving. So
You
I
think
might-
that Coach Tom Izzo would allow him to score 77 points?
I do.
the greatest coach of all time in the eyes of Jarrett Michael Maki? You think
Tom
he would
Izzo
allow
strives for
him?
perfection. Me and Tom Izzo are on a first name basis at Michigan State University, and knowing him and the good friend that he is, and how he didn't cover up anything when stuff was going down there last year. I don't know if I can mention that.
You can. Oh yeah.
Well, it's too late. I already did. I
Yeah.
already kind of went in for the.
No, I respect Tom Izzo as a coach and as a person, but I'm just gonna say, I don't think he's as good of a coach as Coach K. Coach K is. I don't know.
You know, Tom Izzo holds the record for the most Final Fours since his time at Michigan State.
He's actually also held the record for the most games held on a Wednesday that he won by 8 points and 2 rebounds. He actually physically out rebounded other people on the team.
He played for Northern Michigan, so that could be true. But what I'm saying is though, Dominic, so what I just gave you was an important number, which you realized really quickly was like damning to your argument, and you were like, "Oh God, I got to make something up." So you made something up.
I didn't even hear what you said. It sounded way too specific for me to pay attention.
Okay, ready? Are you ready to hear it?
Yeah.
So Tom Izzo, since his arrival at Michigan State, has been to more Final Fours than any other coach in college basketball. He's been to the Final Four 7 times.
How many Final Fours has he won though?
He's won 1 national title.
Was it within that time at Michigan State?
Yeah, 2000. Matthias Cleaves.
So
against Florida.
What you're saying to me is,
in Florida, I think.
How many national championships has he won in the last 15 years?
I got a question for you, Dominic.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, what have you done for me lately? You can't say Tom Izzo is a better coach than Coach K.
What you just said is what a Chicago fan tried to say to me when Cody Parkey missed that field goal or the extra point, whatever it was. He said, "Yeah, but if the goalpost was like 2 feet closer to him, and he would have made it." Like that's what you just did. You moved the goalpost on that. Okay, but I said this to you. Over text message, Dominic. Coach K has always had better recruiting classes than Tom Izzo has.
No, you're right.
And that's not because of the difference.
Do you think it's because of the history of the Duke Blue Devils, or do you think it's because Coach K is a bigger attraction because he's the Olympic coach?
It's because of neither. There have been kids that have gone to Duke. That have had photos of Tom Izzo in their locker their entire lives. And then suddenly, whoa, what's your routing number for your bank account? And they go to Duke. That's all I'm saying. Dominic. And this will all be proven. It's March 1st right now. We have a long way to go. March is a long month.
Yeah.
We're probably going to lose to Indiana tomorrow because Matt McQuaid's injured. Oh, Zion Williamson, what happened to him? Whatever, right? Don't even say it. I know you were going to say it. I took it out of your mouth. We are going to win. Now I'm going to say it. I said Gonzaga when we started. I'm going to say it. Michigan State University, write this down. The Michigan State Spartan Dogs are going to win the 2018-19 NCAA Division I men's basketball title, and it's going to be flawless. And you think Duke's going to do it? We have a $20 bet that Duke doesn't make it past the Elite Eight. So if they do, I owe you $20.
I'll make you another $20 bet that the Michigan State Spartan Dogs do not make the championship.
Sweet 16.
No, I can't. I was going to say that I just realized it didn't make sense for me to make the bet that they won't win the championship because that would be in favor of me like that. So never mind. But I will.
Way to go, Dominic.
Yeah, I know. Right. We can have a side bet, another $20 bet that the Duke Blue Devils make the championship game, if you'd like. That's extreme odds in your favor.
So you're saying, excuse me. So you're saying that if they do make the championship game, I owe you $20. But if they don't, which I don't think they will, you owe me $20.
Yes. And alternatively, the bets can cancel each other out. So and
this is on top of the bet where it's like, okay, so do you want to just cancel out the Elite Eight bet?
No, we're leaving that bet because that's a Michigan State bet.
No, I mean the Duke doesn't make it past the Elite Eight. That bet that we started on the podcast
was that Duke or Michigan State?
It was Duke.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
I mean, if you want to better my odds, since you're so confident,
I am literally so confused.
Since you're
right
so
now.
confident, I swear you're gonna make out with Coach K when we're done filming this podcast.
Maybe
recording this podcast. If you're so confident, your boys, the Duke Blue Devils, and Christian Panetta is getting recruited by Coach K. If you guys want to go and sit there and talk about that, we can do. If you want to do Final Four, I'll do Final Four. We're gonna change the bet, or are you gonna change the bet?
No, we'll keep the Elite Eight.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dominic needs to buy someone a new ring or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Do you have a new pair of shoes? What is it?
yeah, I do actually have new.
Yeah.
These are Daniel Green got me these for my birthday. I'm wearing Paul George NCAA tournament
He's gonna go through them.
PG2s.
He's gonna try to post up, and he's gonna go right through them. He's gonna get a knee injury.
Yeah, probably.
Class 1. Well,
I
Dominic,
think those are
tell you what-
2.5s, I believe.
Tell you what, Dominic. It's been a pleasure being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming in the studio, man.
I will
I gotta
say.
have you on more often.
I will say. Oh, my other question. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Michigan Wolverines in their basketball season this year? Because at the start of the year, they were undefeated. Everyone was like, "Oh, they're invincible. And then they lost to Penn State by like 20 points. Penn State, who had not had a single Big Ten win yet at that point in the year.
Where are they at now? Penn State.
I think that's the only Big Ten win all year still.
I don't know. I haven't watched enough Michigan basketball to be entirely
I
honest with
respect
you.
that. I respect that.
I just haven't. I haven't had the time.
It's going to be awesome when you cut my Michigan question and we just end on us saying, "Hey, it's been a pleasure being on this podcast."
No, I'm gonna keep it in.
I just broke the fourth wall. Oh, and now it's going to stay in?
Yeah, it's
That's
staying
awesome.
in.
I got cheated on one time. But anyway,
Yeah.
well, Dominic, like I said, it's been a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
It's been weird. I will say, though, one note. It's been weird being in the community college.
Yeah, I know. It's a very strange place.
I wish us at Michigan State, we could name our buildings A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's 574 buildings on campus.
Oh my god.
So we would have to go into like the Chinese alphabet. We have to have an underscore building. That'd be wild.
Yeah.
So
That'd be
I
crazy.
appreciate being here.
Absolutely.
Really nice
Thank you for
studio
having-
you have here.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Go green. So
All right, yeah. Hey, I will tell you one thing. If the Macomb Monarchs ever played the Michigan State Spartans in a basketball game, it would be over. All right,
Monarchs.
Monarchs
They'd
all
use
day.
that. They'd use
They
that.
win by 40.
They'd use that Roseville post up. You know
Yeah,
what
they
I'm
would.
saying?
Yeah, exactly.
They had that thing on their sleeve. They
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of pop it in there. Yeah. All right. Awesome.
All right, man. Well, thanks again.
It's been awesome.
Appreciate it.
It's been awesome.
It was good talking with you.
Go green.
We'll have another podcast with you on, and we'll talk about something I know a little bit more about. To be honest,
What's that?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. NASCAR?
Yeah,
Doing a NASCAR podcast?
do it for Dale.
Dude, 3 for Dale. It's
Yeah.
a good way to end.
It is. All right. Well, 3 for Dale.